Welcome to Basscast Radio, bringing you the best in local and national news in bass fishing, as well as interviews with some of the best anglers from all over the U.S. With your host, Brian Carter, and Hank the Bass Geek. Sponsored by Wild Wear America, Z-Bait Company, Missile Baits, Battleborn Batteries, Conrad Brothers Marine, Taylor Man's Custom Lures, Vertical Lures, and Lynchburg Arms and Indoor Shooting Range.
Guys, it's that time of the week, man. We are back with another great episode of Basscast Radio. Got my co-host back with me, Hank the Bass Geek. What is going on, brother? So happy to have you back. So happy to be back off of a week's long vacation. So a little time with the family, and here we are, man, back to work.
Yeah, man. 2 weeks for me. I had to miss the week before you left. I didn't realize you was leaving, and had to do some work stuff. You know how it is. The boss man got his thumb on me, keeping me down.
Come on, man. Nah, gotta do what you gotta do, pay the bills. We're both blessed. We're gonna be honest right here. I mean, we both have great jobs and we both make pretty good money. So we're very, very happy about that. Cause I tell you one thing, ain't no way in hell I could live off the basscast.com. Just saying.
Yeah, same here. My YouTube channel supplies me with all kinds of free and, because I pay for it out of the Bass Geek goodies, but fishing goodies. But yeah, man, I'm not making a living off of that.
Yeah, the basscast.com does pay for travel. It pays for the website. It pays for the hosting for this podcast show. And just to let you guys know, and I haven't even said anything to Bass Geek, we do have a new sponsor, which will be on the next episode of Basscast Radio.
Yes.
We don't want to make the announcement yet, but we're going to have giveaways that we're going to be doing throughout the show. We're going to be doing a giveaway each show, as well as them being the charter sponsor. And we're really, really excited about that. And we appreciate them coming on board. It's a really cool story. I reached out to these guys and they were like, dude, we've been watching and listening to Basscast Radio for quite a while. This is exciting. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking awesome. But while we're talking about sponsors real quick here, we do have some sponsors that help pay the bills. Angler's Choice Marine, Dick's Sporting Goods, Lynchburg Arms and Indoor Shooting Range, Battleborn Batteries, Conrad Brothers Marine, Wild Wear America, Missile Baits, and Lisa Lindsay, Associate Broker at Long and Foster down South Boston, Virginia. You guys can give her a call at 434-572-2645. and let her help you get into a new home if you can find one, or sell your home. Another thing really cool before we get started, guys, if you haven't already seen, the show's on YouTube as well. We're still uploading to YouTube, but Rumble. If you guys have not had the opportunity to check out Rumble, please make sure you go do so. It's a little different than YouTube, I'm gonna be honest with you, but it's something really new, really cool, and we're glad to be a part of that. But we're gonna talk here for a minute, but we have a special guest. We don't have too many people on here from out in California, brother.
I know. Fishing a series that is new this year.
It is.
Want to hear a little information about this series? I don't know a whole lot about it. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot about that. It's really, really cool. And it's Phil Dutra. It's Phillip Dutra, but Phil Dutra is gonna be on with us tonight. And this dude, guys, he has got a resume and a half right here. 2021 Apex Cup Lake Camanche champion. These lakes out there in California. 2011 Angler's Choice Delta Pro-Am champion. 2012 runner-up at the Delta FLW. 2013 won the Bass Delta Pro-Am champion. 12 top 10 Pro-Am finishes. 9 Delta Team Angler of the Year titles.
Woo.
Yeah. Dude's got a heck of a resume. Excited to have him on. But yeah, man, what's been going on in your world, Bass Geek?
Man, I wished I could sing another tune, but it's been house, man. Still working on the house. Got out on the local lake a little bit, did a little bit of fishing, didn't do great, but shot a few videos, trying to keep the channel up, trying to put the tips and tricks out. Dropped one this Wednesday, so one on finesse buzz baits during the summer in clear water. They can be a real fun morning bite if you find the right cover.
There you go. Yeah, like I said, guys, I've been on vacation. We do have tournaments coming up. We actually have 2 back-to-back Leesville events. We have a Leesville Lake Tournament Trail event this Sunday, and next week is the Cat event on Leesville Lake. Guys, few more kayak events coming up. The Bass Cast kicks off in September. But it's been a lot of night fishing going on right around here. And it's been some pretty good weights coming out of Smith Mountain Lake. We're talking, some 18, 19-pound bags.
Mm.
So the boys are still hammering them on Smith Mountain Lake, man.
So where'd you go? Recommendations? Right. Thumb up, thumbs down?
Here you go. There's my cup. I went down to Banner Elk down in Boone, North Carolina.
Man, you weren't far from me at all.
For real?
Yeah. Boone's probably hour and a half, maybe.
Okay. So we went down there and did a little exploring, and I haven't been down to Boone in 40 years. I won't tell my age here, but I don't remember anything. But we did little childhood memories here. I remember going to Tweetsie Railroad when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah.
And we actually got to take the kids there, and they rode the train quite a few amount of times, and it was really cool. And I'll be honest, guys, if you're ever in that area, and it's a shout out, they're not sponsored by any means, but Tweetsie, it's not a whole lot to it. It's not meant for big kids. I mean, I say, 10 and under, 12 and under at the most, but it's just a really cool freaking little park. I mean, it's like family oriented. The place is, dude, I've never seen a theme park as clean as Tweetsie Railroad. I mean, the dudes are in there cleaning the bathrooms. They were so freaking clean, you could eat off the daggone floor. I mean, it's a straight up top-notch park for what they have. They have about 20 rides and a train. And that's
do they still have the roller coaster?
No, I did not see that little roller coaster thing. I did not see that.
Years ago, when I went back, this was the first ever looped roller coaster that I'd ever rode, and it actually dropped off. So now anybody that's ever been to Tweetsie Railroad, part of the fun is getting up to Tweetsie Railroad.
Yeah, that's the fun part, is climbing the mountain to get to that thing.
It is on top of a mountain.
It is.
So used to, they had a roller coaster, and it was a real quick one loop roller coaster, but it dropped off the side of the mountain, did a loop, and basically come right back into the thing.
Wow.
But you drop it off that mountain was a pretty neat little view.
So this was cool too. You'll see the sticker, grandfather mountain. We actually we went there as well. And then we did we did a bunch of stuff. I will be honest. We did a bunch of stuff. Did a coaster ride up on the side of the mountain, because we actually stayed in Banner Elk. I want to say that's where it was. Yeah, and we stayed up there. We stayed up there in one of the chalet ski loft apartments or whatever it is. And I think the whole apartment was about the size of my basement, but that's beside the point. But we had a great time. So it was really cool. Something different that we did this year that I have not done a mountain vacation probably since I was actually a kid myself. So because about 13, we started going to the beach, and that's where I've been going ever since.
Yeah. See, I'm a beach guy.
Yeah.
Like, my whole thing is to drink a lot of beer and then pee in the ocean. That's what I like to do.
All right. With that, let's get our guest on here. But it just, to be honest, it was our fault, my fault, whatever. We didn't know what COVID was going to do, didn't know if anything was going to be open back up or what was going to happen and how the rules are going to be. And we procrastinated. And we threw this trip together in about 48 hours.
That's pretty good. But I'm always in a mountain vacation.
You are. Yes, that is very true. That is very true. So, but yeah, you are right. Being right there on the edge of Tennessee and Virginia. So
I breathe hard just walking from one side of my yard to the other.
I tell you. All right, we're gonna get our guest on here real quick. But I'll tell you this, guys. I felt awesome up there in the mountain. I'm not lying. My sinuses felt great. Everything felt great. And I come back down here and I've been like congested, my stomach, it's like, holy cow. I guess we might have to go back down there a few more times because there's a bunch of trails we didn't actually get to go on, me and Danielle. We wanted to do some hiking. So
beautiful places down there.
Oh yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick break right here and then we'll be right back with our guest, Mr. Phillip Dutra. All right, guys, we are back with our special guest from California, Mr. Phillip Dutra. What's up, man?
How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
We are doing great. Welcome to Basscast Radio. Welcome to the East Coast. And all things bass fishing right here in Central Virginia. And we cover everything right here, man. Phillip,
awesome.
If you guys haven't seen, so here's a little story, guys. I love Instagram. I am a huge Instagram fan person, whatever. I was scanning through Instagram. I saw this dude, this huge freaking trophy sitting in his lap. I said, we have got to talk to this dude right here. I didn't even care where you were from, to be honest, because you're probably like my second or third California guest.
Wow.
But because, we do have a little following out in California, but not a huge following because we do cover a lot of stuff here. But Basscast Radio now, since we're on our new OutdoorObsessionsRadio.com network, we're open to everything, man. We're not we are affiliated with the Basscast, but we have our own platform. So there you go. But so you're our like first or second California guest ever.
Oh man, I feel honored to be here.
All right, let's get it started. Tell everybody out there, man, first of all, who you are, because we're going to sit back and learn as well, because we don't know absolutely a daggone thing about yourself, man.
All right. Well, so my name is Phillip Dutra. 33 years old. Been fishing tournaments for most was on the Delta, California Delta. I'm familiar with that. Kind of became known as the Delta guy. I won a couple of Pro-Ams. In 2011, I won my first Pro-Am on the Delta. 2013, I won. 2012, I took second in the FLW out here. Pro-Ams and everything ever since. I didn't start fishing series of Pro-Ams on the West Coast until last year. I didn't have the right boat. I wasn't in the right financial situation. I wanted to do it for 7-8 years, and I finally got to do it starting last year. Since last year, I fished the MLFs out here, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the One Bass, the US Open, those events, and then the Wild West Bass Trail. It's been a really good last 18 months. I've made 7 top 10 cuts at 5 different bodies of water. So it's been pretty good. I've been blessed and feel on a roll and trying to keep that going. My goal is I'm actually moving to Alabama at the end of the year. I'm great friends with Justin Lucas and a couple of the other elite guys, but Justin Lucas is a client and a friend of mine. And I'll be moving to Gunnersville at the end of the year with my family. And trying to qualify for the elites. This year, I'm trying to qualify for the what is it called, the MLF Sportsman's Warehouse Tour, or I forgot.
The Pro Series.
The Pro Series. Yeah. So I took second on the Delta a couple of weeks ago on the first event for the Toyota Series. That was about a month ago. And so 2 more events left. If I can hang out in the top 5, then I'll be back for whatever. Of course, it's warehouse tour.
All right, brother. So when did you get the fishing bug, man? When did that all start kicking in for Phillip, man?
Yeah, so I was born and raised kind of fishing. My dad got me into bluegill fishing, striper fishing, trout fishing. My grandpa has a houseboat on the California Delta. So
Okay.
when I was age 3, or even a little bit younger, my grandpa would pick me and my brother up every Friday after school, and we would go up to his houseboat on the California Delta, and we would stay there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 9 months a year. And
oh wow,
yeah, and so I got into fishing, catfish, bluegill, crappie, bass. Didn't really know what we were doing in regards to things. And then when I was about 15 and a half, 16, I got a job at a bait shop and selling bait for stripers and catfish and whatnot. And then at the same time, I was going over to the local tackle shop, the bass tackle shop.
right.
And I was every day, and the guy asked me if I wanted a job, and I took the job opportunity. That's what opened me up to the bass fishing world at a much greater level and introduced me to tournaments. And so I started working with the tackle shop, and I think I was 17 when I started working for that tackle shop, and I was there for a few years. But it introduced me to tournaments. I started fishing all the local tournaments. I started an aluminum boat. Then I went to a Ranger 482 with a 150 Yamaha. I was in that forever. I was in that until about 2 years ago. Won a lot of money out of it. Won 2 Pro-Ams out of it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Angler of the Years on the California Delta out of it. And then a year and a half ago, I ended up buying a brand new Skeeter FXR 21, and I said, okay, it's time. I want to do everything. So I ended up starting to fish everything, and again, it was a lot more successful than I thought right off the bat. I don't know how familiar you guys are with the Apex and what that's about from on the East Coast. I know it's a West Coast thing. It's its first year, so I can talk about that a little bit if you guys want.
Go for it, brother. You can roll.
Yeah,
wait, that was our next question. Tell us all about that and this league out there.
Yeah, so on the West Coast, as you guys may know, there's some great fishermen that have come from the West Coast, but there's not a lot to fish out here in regards to bigger tournaments. It's not like I'm moving to Alabama, and I know back there bass fishing, car and horse racing is basically everything. And college football.
That's something that I've said 100 times is that, for whatever reason, the Southeast, we believe that bass fishing and football are only happening here. but there's, we're missing the opportunity for a lot of really good anglers out on the West Coast, because some of the bigger tours, the MLF and the BASS, they've done away with that Western swing. They've pretty much done away with it. And, that's, to me, that's a negative. We need to get back to that. Get you Western guys involved more.
Absolutely. And I think some of the best fishermen come from the West. And I think there's a specific reason for that, but you got people like Justin Lucas and Mark Daniels,
Reese,
Aaron Martin, a lot of guys.
Skeet Reese.
Yep. Reese. So, and I think the West Coast brings something very special. Is, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but when I hear about the South, you hear about power fishing, shallower water fishery for the most part.
Yep.
You hear about the North, it's smallmouth, deep, clear water, but the West Coast has both. And I think that's why some of these guys that come out of the West excel, is because they have everything. I live on the Delta, but less than 2 hours away, I can go fish 10 foot of clarity, 500-foot lake, fishing for smallmouth or spotted bass. And I tidal waters on the Delta, and I can go in for big largemouth and structure, or clear lake and grass in a lake. So I think the West Coast offers the most, it's the perfect blend for a tournament angler to be born and raised in. And I'm not talking anything, against the South or the North only. But, but again, if you think about the North, it's, unless I'm wrong, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but it's the North is clear water, deeper, smallmouth kind of fishing, and the South is more shallow water, murky water, largemouth fish. And so the California offers everything: smallmouth, largemouth, best spotted bass fishery in the world. Bullard's Bar, right? All the records out there. And then you got the California Delta, you got Clear Lake, you have Lake Shasta. So there's a lot here. And then you can go down to the desert lakes in Arizona, fish Lake Mead, Lake Havasu.
Yes.
There's a lot of, I think country is right here. You can see in a 12-hour radius. So, but anyway, Tony, forgot the question you even started with.
Apex,
tell us about this trail, man.
Yeah, the Apex. So cool. So we've always had MLF out here, which was FLW previous, and then we've had one Bass, which if you guys are familiar with the U.S. Open, and that was really it. And then we have a bunch of little team stuff, and none of it really succeeded. So this organization called Wild West came on the scene about 6 years ago, roughly, and they were doing pro-ams, just traditional, pro amateur, capped at 150 boats. And they've done a pretty good job on the West Coast. We don't get the boat draws that you guys get, but Wild West was able to harbor that and be able to get, most of the time we get close to 150 boats, which is great. So then Wild West, a year ago, they came up with something called Apex. So they own it. It's Wild West organization. Apex is the second tour level that they offer. So Wild West, the traditional Wild West Bass Trail, anybody can fish. You pay your money.
Right.
And anybody can fish. The Apex is very unique. And I think you're going to hear a lot more about it in the coming year, 2 years, and moving forward. I think everybody's going to know about it very shortly. So the Apex, they took the top 32 guys from the Wild West in points. They invited us, this goes back 8 months, a year ago. They invited us in private meetings. They said, hey, we're trying to do something different. We want to create an elite circuit on the West Coast with the most elite anglers from the West, bigger money, media, national coverage, the whole deal. No co-anglers, no net. And as well as create a very unique format. It's a very unique format. It's different than anything you've probably seen. So what's really cool is the anglers got to participate in the conversations about what is Apex going to be, what should the format be, what should the payout structure be, where should we go, all that. So I was a part of all that. Again, it's its inaugural year this year, and so the way that it's structured is it's really cool because there's a lot of twists and turns. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to blend an MLF/Bass, but also be unique in their own way. So I'll break it down. Right now, there's 32 anglers, and they're the 32 of the best anglers on the West. That it's invite and qualification only, no co-anglers, camera crews, and the whole deal. And what they do is day one and two of the tournament, there's two ways to qualify for day three, and that is the traditional 5 fish or 5 biggest fish per session. So the event that I just won at Camanche, there was 2 sessions on day 1. There was 1 session on day 2. So there was a 15 fish weigh-in, right, for 2 days,
right,
one,
right.
Okay. So 5 of the 32 guys will qualify to fish on on the final day, weight your best 5 fish per session. The other 5 guys will qualify on a keeper count. Most keepers over 14 inches, period. That we have this score tracking system called the TourneyX platform. So the TourneyX platform is similar to Bass Tracker or whatever MLF does. It's live time. Anglers look at it, so you can see where you are, what the competition's doing or whatnot. Fans can watch it at the same time, which is really cool because there's been a lot of traction there. And what they do is they track your keepers and then your best 5 per session. Day 3, they zero everything out and they go back to old school bass fishing. It's your best 5. So the top 10 fish on day 3, everything's zeroed out and you're fishing only for the best 5. So day 1 or 2, you might qualify through keepers or you might qualify through your best 5 per session. And then everything zeroes out. So, and then you have score tracker. There's no nets, no co-anglers.
So the final day, is there a real weigh-in?
Yeah, well, we weigh in every day. So you weigh in every day, even though you have a tracker system. It's kind of more like BASS in that it's not official. It's not like MLF where when they weigh it, it's official. It's unofficial. Put it in score. But you weigh your best 5. We have a board that we it's an official board that we have to take pictures with the fish on to keep track of the keeper count. And there's a guy back at the trailer who officiates everything and makes sure everything is legit. And that keeps track of the keeper count, but you keep your best 5 per day as well to weigh in for the best 5. So it's this really unique blend. And to be honest, I tell everybody, when I started this and I was invited, I was excited because it was new. When I went to the first private meeting, It was done very professionally. I saw the vision. I saw where it's over 100% payout. They want to make it even greater and greater. And they're working on all that right now, and they're gonna have a lot of traction with that. But to be honest, I told my wife when I went to the first meeting, I said, this is awesome. I want to be a part of it. I see the vision here, but I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that format. I'm going to do it either way.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the format. Well, let me tell you guys, there's 32 guys in it this year. They want to get it to 50. So they're going to add 10 more this year and 8 more the next year. And then after that, they're going to cap it. And they're going to, you're going to fall out if you're in the bottom 10, and they'll take the new top 10. Oh, they'll at least invite them. There's a lot of stipulations. You have to have a wrap boat and, whatever. There's a lot of, they're trying to keep it very professional. Yeah. So I told my wife, hey, I want to be a part of it. I don't know how excited I am, but I want to qualify for the elites is my ending goal. And I felt like this would help me regardless, because the other thing about this format is there's no practice, 0 practice, 100% off.
Oh, wow.
So we show up to the lake with no practice. You show up the night before, 100% off limits. You can't talk to anybody about it. You can't get, no guided trips or anything like that. You show up the night before, you go to a mandatory meeting. The next morning you launch your boat, you get a 30-minute, and then it's go time. You come back to the ramp, and then it's go time. And they're also picking lakes that on the West Coast, everybody knows about Lake Shasta, Clear Lake, or the California Delta. Mm-hmm. We're not doing any of those. We're doing small lakes off the grid, lakes that very few of us are familiar with. Most of us have never been to any of the lakes we're going to, because they're these little lakes in the middle of nowhere. So it tests our ability, our skill set. It's not off limits, but you've fished there 400 times before. It's like most of including myself has never been to these lakes. So you get this, you show up to the lake and it's go time. And I like that, because for me, knowing that I'm trying to qualify for the elites and move back east and go to Alabama, and the whole deal is I need, this format forces you to think quicker, fish quicker, react quicker, adjust quicker. There's no practice. You don't get 2 days to look around. You don't get 2 days to feel what baits they're eating. You have to go right now. And then you're looking at the score tracker system, and you can look at it as much or little as you want, and you're seeing guys catching fish. And if you're behind the 8 ball, that creates a whole nother level of stress, right? And so that's the format of the Apex. Big media coverage. They also a lot of twists and turns, which I think is really cool. You never know what may happen the night before the event. This event, we had 2 weigh-ins on day 1. We didn't know that. The first event, we had 1 weigh-in each day. In the first event, they changed it where we were supposed to be the Columbia River, and they changed it to the John Day River. So it keeps you on your feet. It throws some twists and turns involved, in it. And like I said, I love it. So like I said, being honest, I wasn't a big fan in my thought process. But then when I fished the first event, I said, this is the funnest format I've ever fished in my life. And I'm the most competitive person anyone's ever met. I got a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 9-month-old, and I don't let them win in anything. I'm the most.
Gosh, there. Good God.
I know that, but format is the best of all the worlds. I'm a 5-fish guy. I love what MLF and Bass are both doing, and I love that MLF is growing the sport. But my future, and I want to go to the Bass because I want to fish for 5 fish. It doesn't mean I hate MLF or anything like that. I love what they're doing for the sport. I love 5 fish. With the Apex, they give you 2 ways to qualify, which changes the strategies, changes the thought process, all that. But then on day 3, it's back to grassroots, your best 5 fish. So it has this unique high stress, high adrenaline, high emotion format, pretty cool for TV coverage. And then back to day 3, we get back to grassroots bass fishing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you got a little bit of the kayak series blended into it using Tourney X, because that's what we use here at the kayak series. So I mean, we got a great kayak following here in Central Virginia, and a great turnout, great group, and that's what we use. Is not all the time. We use it like 1 or 2 events, but we use Tourney X, and I'm great friends with the owner of Tourney X. But so yeah, we do that as well.
Yeah, I love the no practice. That to me, that's what made the MLF Cups so interesting. That in the small fields, because you can go and fish a certain area of a large lake, or you can, split it up and fish several smaller lakes. Guys like me that's got a lot of smaller lakes around that we fish that may be tough. You're like, well, I wonder how those daggone pros would approach this lake. Yeah, they wouldn't do no better. And so that allows you to do exactly what you said, be able to go out and fish some of those out of the way lakes, those lakes that are not targeted for those big bass, big time tournaments. And that's fun to see, guys fishing, fishing different size bodies of water. So that's pretty neat, man. I like that. And it's good because, something I've said it for the longest of times, especially, I think one of the most disappointing things when kind of, MLF made their announcement that they were going to start the pro series, that big time circuit, was that Bass actually had finally added a West Coast swing to their schedule, and then they took it away, trying to get guys to stay. Like you said, I hate it for the West Coast guys who, almost every single West Coast guy, they're moving to the Tennessee River. So, if we're going to grow the sport, we're going to have to include everybody past the Mississippi.
Yeah.
I
know bass fishing is way bigger back there. And out in the West Coast, you have a lot of other activities. And so, even though there's more people out here in California's got 55 million people, but there's a lot, it gets divided between snow skiing, and we have all the mountains and the oceans and the coast and stuff. So I get that it gets divided, but I genuinely believe there's an argument to be made that some of the best guys in bass fishing come from the West Coast. And I think there's a lot more guys that if they had the opportunity, they're competing because of the fisheries we have.
Yeah, the diversity of the fisheries. That's where I live at. That's a big deal because I live in the Appalachian Mountains. So I've got all these highland reservoirs that that I fish that are real local, and then an hour, 2 hours away, I've got the Tennessee River lakes. So I've got Cherokee, Douglas, South Holston, Watauga, which are 200-300 feet deep, super clear reservoirs, and then we go down to all these lakes from Fort Loudon, Watts Bar, Chick, and on down to Guntersville, and even out to Pickwick, where you end up with a lot of grass. The only thing I don't have that you were talking about earlier, is the tidal fisheries. Yeah. Like you put me on a tidal fishery and I'd be like, what's happening to the water? What is going on here?
All right. Let's move into this thing right here. Let's talk about that big old trophy. It's right behind your shoulder. Maybe your right shoulder, I think. Yeah, right shoulder.
Yep.
Lake Camanche, man. First of all, congratulations. How much did you win? I mean, we know nothing about this thing, man, dude. We were just like, I just saw this freaking photo of you holding this trophy, and I'm like, we got to talk to you. So, I mean, how much did you take home on top of the beautiful trophy? It
was $20,000, and they're working. Well, again, this is the first year, 32 guys. We are building this to. I've already seen the numbers for the next couple of years, and they're growing. And what the sponsorship participation and then growing the field up to 50. So this is first year. So the first prize is $20,000, but they're working on that, and that's going to.
How much is your entry fee?
$2,000.
Okay. It's not bad.
Only 32 guys though, so you're not fishing against 150 or 200 guys or anything like that.
Yeah, now
it's the 32 of the best in the West. Jared Littner's a part of it. Greg Gutierrez, guys that are on the Elite Series.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so it's definitely not just hey, I got money, I can go fish this event. This is the highest quality of what the West offers, putting in them concentrated fishing together. So that was that.
So you told us you fished 3 periods. You fished 2 days, correct?
Fished 3 days. So the first session, or the first bracket, I guess you can say, is the first 2 days, which was 3 sessions on this tournament, 2 sessions on the first session, 1 session on the second day. So you come in, you bring in your best 5 per session, but they're also keeping track of your keeper count. Oh, I'm sorry. Something popped up on my phone there. Can you still see me there?
Yep.
Cool. So day 1 we fished until, and it was 116 degrees, 116.
Holy crap. Over 90, I'm done.
Yeah, it was hot. It was really day 1, 116 degrees. It's a smaller lake. There was about 100 ski boats, wakeboards. And when I say a smaller lake, the majority of our lakes out here are a lot smaller than what you guys have. So this lake, I can be at one end to the other if there was no 5 mile an hour in 14 minutes from end to end.
Wow.
So now there was some 5 mile an hour, which made it way, half the lake was 5 mile an hour. So it extends the time. But in regards to how big the lake is, I'm not an acreage guy, so I don't know the acreage of it, but it's a small lake.
Yeah.
So anyway, a lot of boats on the water, extremely hot. They have spotted bass and largemouth in here. They have really big largemouth. Actually, there was a tournament earlier where 43
holy smokes
pounds for 5 won the tournament back in April.
Ooh,
holy cow.
Nice.
Yeah, so it has that potential, but that's not what was happening right now.
I'm sure.
Now, 2.5 pounder was a solid, especially when you don't know the lake and you don't get to practice it. So
listen, and being a big boy, listen, I know I like food. I don't even, when it gets that hot, I'm not eating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah. So I don't know if you want to break down each day or what if you
give us
down to your day.
Quick, you ain't got to talk, you ain't got to go major in depth, but talk about, your tactic that day and, what the baits you used and, how it led up to that big trophy.
Yeah. So something that
and if you got the baits, I'd like to see those too.
Yeah. I put a couple of them in the cup that I from memory, but yeah. So I live by this phrase that I fish by: strategy, versatility, execution.
Okay.
So I go into every tournament trying to put together the best strategy I can. There's a lot of in-depth that goes to that. I'm a numbers guy, percentages, processing, all this stuff. And so, obviously you do your research before you get to the lake. That's public because we can't have any individual conversation. What lives in the lake, what does the lake look like, all that good stuff. And so I knew that, there's spots and there's largemouth. The largemouth obviously get bigger here, but you might be able to catch more spots in the summer. So I went into the tournament. There's the main lake part of it, and then there's the river part. And the river, it's not like a river that's flowing right now. There's really no flow coming out of the river. So it's not really a river right now. That's always flowing. We have, as you guys know, we have major drought problems in California.
Yes, I've seen it today.
Not water, lakes are empty. It's pretty bad. But anyway, so I had found a lot of spots up the river. And again, because there's no practice, you got to go right away. So I started on the main lake, and I found some fish on top water. It ended up being a very, very, very tough event.
Wow.
The numbers, everything were way down compared to what people thought, even including myself. I thought it would take about 15 keepers a day to make the cut. It ended up, so that'd be 30 keepers over 2 days. It ended up taking 16 keepers to make the cut. That's how bad it was.
Holy crap.
Wow.
So, and that's fishing day 1, we fished for 12 hours. So that's how tough it was. And so anyway, I had found some fish up the river. They were spotted bass. They were a little bit smaller, but I figured I could rack up the keeper count. On day 1, I caught 11 keepers and I was in 3rd place on the keeper count. I was catching them on a drop shot and top water. I was throwing a cane walker, Berkeley cane walker. And I would kind of rotate. I think one of the things, I talked about strategy, versatility, execution. The versatility, I think for me was huge because you have a lot of guys here that they were fishing ultra fast and power fishing or because it's a clear water lake and it's really pressured, a lot of boats, or they were fishing really, really slow with finesse. And I weighed fish every day doing both. I weighed fish on 7 6-pound tests on a spinning rod, and I weighed fish on top water, fishing as fast as I possibly could. So I weighed fish the first day on a drop shot, a Ned rig, and then a cane walker. and I put myself in good position. My goal on day 2 was 6th place on keepers. I had 11 and I was in 3rd. 6th place was 7. So in my head, the second day we fished for less time. It was a Saturday. There's going to be more boats on the water. It's the second day of the tournament. So I felt like if I could catch, I had to catch at least 3, preferably 4, and hopefully, and I would make it in on keeper count. So I just said, I don't even care how big they are, over 14 inches. I need to catch 3 to 5 fish. I ended up getting 5 bites. I hooked 4. I landed 3. And I squeaked into 10th place on the qualification.
Right.
Day 3, they reset everything, and it's only your biggest 5. So I told my wife the night before, I said, I can't win it up the river. I can't win it with spotted bass. I'm not going to win. I qualified with them, but I'm not going to win. I need to stay on the main lake, and I need to target largemouth. But there's, you could blank. I mean, I think one of the guys in the top 10 blanked on day 3. I mean, that's how tough it was.
Wow.
So I didn't have much to go to, and I just said I'm going to feel it out, and I bounced around. Really, one thing Apex has taught me is you have to move. You have to make moves really quick because there's no practice. So I got to figure out what they're doing right now. I got to try deep. I got to try shallow. I got to try this. I got to try that. Everything really quick, and then I got to get my first clue. So day 3, after about an hour and a half, I went into a cove. There was a bunch of bait. There was some structure on the shore, and a bunch of shad pushed up there. And I ended up losing a huge one. It was, for this lake this time of year, it was between 5 and 7, which 15.5 pounds was the biggest bag of the tournament for 2 days. So that gives you some perspective.
Wow.
So I lose this fish. I fought it for like 2 minutes. It's all on camera. It was on a micro, and I never felt it bite. It was kind of weird. It was just on. I never really got to set the hook. I fought it forever. I thought it was a catfish because out in California, about lake and some of the lakes, you catch a lot of when you're bass fishing.
Right.
So anyway, I thought it was a catfish, and then I saw it. It was a bass. Panicked. Anyway, she came off. So that was heartbreaking. And then I caught 3 fish really quick on a drop shot where all this shad was. They were spitting up shad and everything. And caught 3 fish really quick, and they were better quality. I think I had a 3, a 2.5, and a 2 1/4. And again, when I was going up the river, I was catching 150s, 170s, 160s. So so I felt pretty good, and I felt like, okay, I could probably stay here the rest of the day and get 2 more. And going into day 3, my guess was I felt like if you had 12.5 pounds, you had a shot to win.
Right.
So I got 3 that were solid, and then it went dry for about an hour. I stayed around that area, changed up some baits, and then I ended up hooking 4 more. I lost another one that was even bigger than the first one. And
oh, wow.
It hurt. I preach execution, usually phenomenal execution, but I lost the 2 biggest bites I had in this tournament on day 3, which you normally can't do and win. But I kept at it, and was fortunate to fill my limit out. I had 12 pounds, just under 12 pounds for my best 5. And when I looked at Score Tracker or the Tourney X, I was leading it, but Joey Uribe was he was right behind me, but he only had 4 fish. So he ended up catching a 5th fish. I saw that he was ahead of me by 1.5 pounds. And with about 2 hours left, it was 1.5 pounds down. I think I had a 169 was my small, so I needed a 3.5 pounder. And that's unofficial, but you figure, okay, he's probably pretty close. So I'm probably not, I'm treating that as it's accurate. So I picked up a cane walker, and I just ran all around the lake and fished for everything I could. And with 20 minutes left, I needed a 3.5, and I caught a 343. It was the most surreal thing. Emotional. I'm pretty. When people see it come out on the Pursuit channel in a couple months, I'm extremely high energy, high passion, whatnot. But when I caught this last fish, it was like I was so emotional that I was emotionless, and I just fought the fish, brought it in. I put it on the scale. It was 3.5. I couldn't believe it. I put it in the live well, and I was just like, is this really happening? Again, it didn't mean it was official at all, but I knew that if I didn't catch it, I didn't really have a chance to win. And then I ended up beating out Jared Littner. He had 13:41 and I weighed in 13:43.
That's awesome.
I beat him by 2/100ths of a pound or 5/16. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
I've been
awesome,
on
dude.
the other side of that 2/100ths before. It sucks.
So in 2000, I W on the California Delta ounces, and so it dramatically hurt.
All right, guys, we are back with Mr. Phillip Dutra. Thank you, brother, for coming on with us, and thank you for talking to us tonight. Guys, we've been talking about his Apex Cup on Lake Camanche, a champion. How's that sound? Put that behind your name, man.
Pretty cool. It does sound pretty cool. It's pretty special.
So we broke down the formats. We talked about the first 2 days. We were talking about day 3. You said you were throwing a little drop shot. What was the drop shot you were throwing, man?
I got one of the
Let's
lures.
go for it, man.
Yeah. So I kept these just for a memory bank in the thing, but I was throwing a 4.5-inch RoboWorm hologram shad on a drop shot. I don't know if you can see it there.
Oh yeah,
we can see it. Oh yeah,
yeah. And then I was throwing a cane walker, a Berkeley cane walker, which is like a pencil popper style bait.
Yeah.
So I was throwing that, and I threw a couple, I threw a bunch of different things on the spinning rod, but I caught most of them on a Senko and that 4-inch drop shot. I caught some on a Ned rig and some on a straight tail worm. So I was mixing up the finesse tactics, but yeah, light line. I was throwing 6-7 pound tests, and I was fishing around some rocky, snaggy stuff. But I'm a believer. You got to get the bite first before you can losing it. So so day 3 ended up. It was definitely a special day to win by 2/100ths of an ounce against Gary Lynn. It's pretty cool, pretty special. And having very little experience at that lake. I've been to that lake twice in January, about 3 or 4 years ago, and so I have very little experience there. So to win there, away from my home body of water, was very special against that caliber of anglers as well as in that format. Is pretty cool.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk. Go ahead.
Well, you shouted it out. You said earlier.
Yes.
The Apex was going to be on the Pursuit channel. Do you have any clue when they're going to start airing those episodes? Or
yes, don't hold me to the fire, but my understanding is it should be about the first one from Lake Almanor should be out very soon. The second one from the one, obviously the one I just won, that should be out in about 60 days roughly. Their goal in the future, they're working on all this with their production companies and everything, is to get it down to 30 days after the event. But we're looking at about 60 days right now. Again, this is the first year of Apex.
Oh yeah,
and doing a lot of amazing things. But we're about 60 days out, roughly, from when this event will be aired on the Pursuit channel.
All right. So you brought up earlier, you're moving to the East Coast, man. You wanna qualify for the Bassmaster Elites, and you're gonna have to fish some of these opens around here. Is that the game plan?
Right. Yeah. So obviously we don't have the Bass Opens out west. So we have the Toyota, the MLF. So right now I'm trying to qualify to fish I keep forgetting what it's worded, but the Pro Series, which the Toyota Series qualifies me. So I'm in second right now. I took second on the Delta. Kind of fortunate in that I'm a Delta local and that they had to reschedule some of the tournaments because California is a mess and they got all kinds of issues. So they rescheduled the second one that was supposed to be at Lake Shasta back to the Delta. So we have 2 Delta events back to back, and that's in about 2.5 weeks. So right now I'm in second in the points. I took second on the first one on the MLF out here, and then if I can stay in the top 5, I'll qualify for the Big 5, or not the Big 5, the Pro Series. I'm sorry, and then so then we moved to Alabama at the end of the year, and then I'll also jump into BASS Opens at the same time, because here's where I'm at. I love what MLF is doing for the sport, but I've always been a 5-fish guy.
Yeah.
Not a left. I'm not one of those guys. I love growing the sport, but I'm a 5-fish guy. Now I'm glad that the Pro Series is still 5-fish, so that's what I am trying to qualify for. but I think we all know in regards to 5-fish format, the Elite Series is pinnacle. And so that's
yes.
So moving over to the MLF Pro Series next year is the goal. I'm doing pretty well with that right now. And then at the same time, try to qualify for the Elites. And, if that takes me a couple of years or whatnot, I don't know. But in the meantime, if I'm in the Big Five, at least I keep saying Big Five, but I'm fishing at a high level. And here's the deal too. If I'm fortunate enough and I don't qualify for the Elites right away, but I do qualify for the Bass Pro Tour, I'm not going to reject that.
Oh, no.
So where the future takes me and what, where that goes. But I know, I kind of have a plan of where I want to be.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Phillip, man, we appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you talking to us. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of Basscast Radio tonight. Before you leave, man, any sponsors you'd like to give a shout out to real quick? Because, they pay the bills, man.
Yeah, I'm actually in the Toxic Baits warehouse. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Toxic Baits or not, but I'm in their headquarters right now. That's what the background is, and I'm in where they make the baits and whatnot. They've been a huge supporter of me since day one. It was the first guy to even own an original Toxic Bait 15 years ago. So they make, if you're not familiar with them, you will be familiar with them sooner or later. They're blowing up all over the country.
It's awesome.
So to them, Bobby D's Baits, he makes all my jigs, my spinner baits, buzz baits and whatnot. And then my company, Arbor Wealth Management, we're a financial advisory practice. Actually, we invest a lot of the Elite Series and guys that they're our clients, and we have clients all over. So we kind of brand ourselves as the outdoorsman financial advisor. So if anybody needs help with that, that's who we are. That's who I am. And right now, that's and always thank my wife and family for my fans and whatnot. So, and I thank you guys for having me on and allowing me to be here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Really, really appreciate it. And guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, guys, man, we really appreciate Phillip Dutra for coming on with us tonight from California. And guys, make sure you check out the Apex Cup. It's new. It's coming on. They had their first series, but this kind of major league fishing, bass, kayak. I mean, that's pretty freaking cool, though.
It's
I'm sitting there with my head thinking myself, I'm like, dang, I like to do that here because that would be really cool. I'm still a fan of the 5-fish. I will never go away from the 5-fish. But it would be pretty cool to have everybody, register through Tourney X or something like that. If you got big enough and be like, hey, this way people can keep up throughout the day what you're doing. Your family can keep up and all that stuff. Yep. And I have known that Dwayne has been working on a Tourney X side where you can weigh them as well as measure. The measure is the main thing for the kayak side. But it's pretty freaking cool. So, I mean, that's an interesting.
Well, there's guys that are big bass guys.
Yeah.
They catch big bass. I tend to be one of those guys. I'll go out and catch that 1 or 2 big bass. And then there's those guys that go out and they'll catch 30 or 40, smaller bass. So that actually gives you the best of both worlds and the best of both, because he qualified for day 3 via the numbers.
Right.
And then won, with the best 5.
I can, Bass Geek, I can see me telling my boys now, hey, we're going to have an intermission. What did you just say?
Yeah.
I will die on that boat before we have an intermission. But after he tells you it's 114 degrees out there, I tell you one thing, I'll take an intermission any freaking day. I can tell you
Be
that.
like, listen, can we fish till 10 and then just come in and get in the AC and then come back out at like 5 or 6?
Yeah.
I'll take that intermission all day at 116 degrees.
Can we fish from 6 to 10 and then come back out and fish from like 5 to 9?
Yeah, exactly.
Take a shower, change clothes or something, not dehydrate and die. Over 100 degrees, guys. That's some dedication. I can tell you that much right now. Man, guys, we're glad to be back. last week, like we were saying, I was on vacation, and it's good to get recharged. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys who've all checked out outdoorsessionsradio.com. The numbers are showing, and we really appreciate that. We got a lot happening right here. I mean, we're right here. This is a second half of 2021, and me and Bass Geek are ready to roll through it.
Oh yeah, man. Guys, don't forget, go check out Bass Geek on YouTube.
Yes,
Hit that subscribe button.
That's right. This week we got the final Bassmaster Elite event of the 2021 season. I did a post today. We do fantasy fishing here, and we've been doing it for the last 4 years, I want to say. I give away a $100 gift card to the overall winner.
Nice.
You pick 10 events, you can win $100. I mean, it takes you approximately 3 minutes to pick. I mean, for your chance to win 100. We had about 60 teams this year, and last year we had 150 or 60. We had the second highest. No, we were the first or second highest private group out there.
Wow.
So you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you to everyone that's played fantasy fishing with us this year. If I was smarter, we'd have a fantasy fishing show, but I can't keep up with all this crap. Holy crap. Because that's, I mean, fantasy fishing, Major League Fishing, I mean, Major League Baseball, football, all of them have a fantasy football shows and all this crap because the money and the gambling and all this stuff going on. But guys, it's that might be an idea for next year. Think about it, Bass Geek, because we got to contact the Bass right now. It does a lot of the fantasy fishing. And if you guys haven't had a chance to check him out, you need to go over there and look back at a few of our episodes on Outdoor Obsessions Radio. And I'm trying to look really quick now, and the name has done freaking left me for some stupid reason. There it is, Mr. Kyle Jesse. So maybe that might be something we can do next year. Have a little have a fantasy fishing show where Kyle
That'd
will
be
come
cool.
on. Kyle would come on and break down the event for you guys, and get picks and all that stuff, and maybe we can have some special guests on as well. People who play fantasy fishing with the Basscast. Whoa! The wheels are turning, and it's only gonna be 10 episodes, but it's pretty cool. And maybe FLW might bring theirs back. I heard it's not in the books right now at all to bring back fantasy fishing for FLW, nor the kayak series for FLW. So maybe in the near future things might change. So all right, I'm done rambling. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. I don't get to talk to you that often, but I really appreciate it. Thank you guys all for listening. It's been another great show. Thank you guys. And we're going to play our outro song to take us out really, really quick.
You've been listening to Basscast Radio, the best in local and national bass fishing news. To listen to more episodes, check us out on all the podcasting networks. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, thebasscast.com, and Basscast News.